Look no deeper than... The Abyss. This is the 1989 sci-fi underwater adventure drama thriller from director James Cameron. In appreciation for the film Underwater, I'll be reviewing some films that have a similar concept that all came out in 1989 and 1990. But before we get into it, make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. Even $1 a month will help keep this channel going on strong, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe. Alright, let's get into this. The plot. After the crew of a submersible, the USS Ohio, comes into contact with something and they lose control of the sub and all die, a deep-sea drilling platform is the closest to reach them and survey the damage. Accompanied by some Navy SEAL operatives, they make their way into the abyss. How could they know that something was still down there? This is not a horror film. It's a sci-fi adventure drama with some minor thriller elements. Think of it as if Lords of the Deep had a bigger budget. I watched the special edition, which from what I've heard is the most desirable choice. There's a lot of character development, and even a subplot involving the US and Russia, which almost ends up starting World War III. Hey, that didn't make the theatrical cut. But it was the 80s, Cold War, you know. Speaking of the characters, I thought for the longest time that Bruce Willis was the main character. I don't know why, I saw it and I thought that was him. It's like, hey, that's the guy from Armageddon. Because I saw Armageddon when I was younger too. But no, it's Ed Harris who plays the main character, Bud Bridgman. He's an easygoing captain that follows the rules and orders from his superiors and gets along with everybody. Well, almost everybody. Lindsay Brigman, played by Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, plays the character of Bud's ex-wife. The divorce is not final yet, and she does kind of seem like an uptight businesswoman at first. However, as the film progresses, we see more of her character changing for the better. The almost unrecognizable Michael Biehn from Aliens: The Terminator plays Lieutenant Coffey. He looks nothing like he used to. It was a jaw-dropping surprise when I read his name when I was writing the review for this movie. I was like, wait, that was Michael Biehn? Lieutenant Coffey is a man under a lot of pressure. He suffers from decompression sickness that he succumbs to early on in the movie. It drives him into shaky insanity. I do not know if he would have acted differently if he hadn't been affected, but I guess we'll never know. I thought I would mention that this is Kimberly Scott's first film. She had an appearance in a TV show called A Man Called Hawk prior, but other than that, she was brand new at the time. I think she did a great job and added a lot of charisma to an all-around lively cast. They are a strong crew that are aboard a vessel that is in a world unknown to us. They all get along and there's no fighting. I think that having a great cast helps add to that. Only when the presence of the Navy SEALs is seen, that then the crew quickly dismisses them as nothing but stock military folk. For a film made in 1989, its overall scope is amazing. The effects work is incredible. Although there is some patchy green screen, it still looks better than it did in Aliens. Let's go into those effects now, shall we? The gore, the effects. No gore. It's a friendly movie with an even friendlier appearance to it. Sure, some of the effects are a bit meh, but for the time this was made, they are incredible. There is very early CGI in this film, and it looks better than some films do today. Not only are we sucked into a brand new world, but we see things that are just astonishing. The odd thing in this movie is that there are barely any fish, at least from what I could see. I also wanted to touch on the cinematography. Goodness gracious, it's amazing. The rays of light and overall color bring an eye-catching and color-popping, vivid appearance to what is usually a dark and foreboding place. The sets are incredible too. They really make everything feel larger than life. It's a very polished movie. The motion picture soundtrack, Alan Silvestri, who composed Predator 1 and 2, does a magnificent job composing a score that brings awe and wonder to the screen just by hearing it. It's pleasant as well as fitting. The military themes are welcomed as well. Some of it even felt like older 40s and 50s pictures that were all whimsical and such, and I loved it. I love that kind of music. This movie bombed at the box office. It cost $70 million to make, and only took in around $90 million. It was also the most expensive film ever made at the time. However, working on The Abyss was anything but a good time. Some of the cast, including Ed Harris, refused to talk about this movie. I get that it was a big undertaking, so of course Mr. Cameron would be hard on them. However, I don't know the full story, so I'll have to go back and watch the special features. I've heard Mr. Cameron's incredibly hard to work with, so yeah. All in all, this is a wonderful movie to experience, with mostly amazing effects and a great cast of characters. It stands out above most of the underwater movies of the time. Watching this as a kid, I remember always wanting there to be a monster. However, a lot of films around the time this movie was made in had monsters and a similar story, so I got my fix. In my opinion, it's not the best underwater movie, but it's far from the worst. Overall, I give The Abyss a 3 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto, the horror show host. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. Even $1 a month will help keep this channel going on strong, and I'd greatly appreciate it. The links are in the description below. Also hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe.